Good day to you, wherever you are in your preparation right now. Whether you are feeling the quiet confidence of a good study week, or you are a little rattled by how much of the syllabus still feels open, both feelings are completely normal at this stage of sociology optional preparation, and both are exactly why you are here. This is the Sociology Desk, issue number 96. Today we are taking two live stories, one from the caste and reservation debate and one from India's influencer economy, and showing you exactly how to convert them into thinker anchored, examiner ready answers for Mains 2026. Let us start with a story that has been trending among young people online, a campaign calling itself Reservation Hatao, demanding that caste based reservation be replaced entirely by an income based criterion. On the surface, this looks like a policy argument. For you, as a sociology optional candidate, it is something far more valuable. It is a live test case for one of the oldest and most examined debates in Paper 2, the relationship between caste and class in India. Here is the core concept you must get exactly right. Caste and class in India are not the same thing, and they do not move together in a simple, straight line. Caste operates through ritual rank, marriage rules, and social avoidance, things that do not disappear simply because a person's income rises. Class operates through income, ownership, and occupation. The sociologist Dipankar Gupta puts this sharply. He argues that caste and class are discrete, meaning they are separate systems of ranking that can overlap in individual cases but do not collapse into each other. So, an income ceiling, however well intentioned, cannot capture what caste based exclusion actually does to a person's social standing. If you remember one thinker and one line for this topic, make it Dipankar Gupta. In his work, Interrogating Caste, Gupta argues that caste and class in India operate as discrete, non overlapping hierarchies. So, economic mobility alone cannot dissolve caste based humiliation. Write that formulation down. It is precise, it is attributable, and it directly rebuts the reservation Hatao argument that income alone can substitute for caste. Now, let me put on my examiner's hat for a moment, because this is the single most important slide in today's brief. Picture two answer scripts on this question. The average script, sitting around 14 out of 20, spends most of its words describing the Reservation Hatao campaign itself. What it demands, who is protesting, why. That is narration, and narration alone will not take you past 14. The script that scores 18 or 19 out of 20 does something completely different. It opens with a structural claim, not a definition. Something like, reservation in India was never designed as poverty alleviation. It is a correction for graded inequality. Then it names Dipankar Gupta's concept precisely, caste and class as discrete categories, and uses the campaign in exactly one or two sentences, only as evidence, never as the main story. Then, and this is what most candidates miss, it brings in a counter-thinker. Here, Ambedkar's argument that caste-specific injury is graded inequality, not poverty, to show the campaign's own economic logic breaks down. And it closes by looking forward, toward a subcategorization solution using caste disaggregated data, not just a moral verdict on who is right. That structure, structural opening, named concept, evidence in passing, counterthinker, forward looking close, is what separates the two scripts. The event is your evidence. The theory is always your destination. Here is a question to practice tonight. The Reservation Hatao campaign frames caste disadvantage as a problem of income alone. Critically examine this claim using Dipankar Gupta's understanding of caste and class as discrete categories. Give yourself 25 minutes and use exactly the four-move structure we just discussed. Let us move to our second story, and this one takes us into territory that is going to matter more and more for sociology optional: the sociology of digital life. India's influencer economy has grown into a genuine economic and cultural force, with young people building entire identities and incomes around their online presence. For you, this is a direct opportunity to apply a thinker from your core Paper 1 unit on sociological thinkers in a completely contemporary setting. George Herbert Mead's foundational insight was that the self is not something we are born with. It is built socially, through interaction. Mead described how we develop a sense of self by internalizing what he called the generalized other, the accumulated attitudes and expectations of the people around us. Now think about what an influencer does all day. They are constantly checking likes, comments, and watch time. That data stream is functioning as their generalized other. Except, it is no longer a face-to-face community, it is an algorithm. This is exactly the kind of contemporary extension examiners reward, taking a classical concept and showing precisely how a digital age phenomenon stretches or challenges it. The formulation to remember, attributed correctly, is this. As George Herbert Mead argued in Mind, Self, and Society, the self arises only through taking the attitude of the generalized other toward one's own conduct. Now you may be wondering, how far can I push this into a modern answer without sounding like I am simply describing an application? The answer is, you bring in a second thinker to sharpen the point. Anthony Giddens argued that in late modernity, self-identity becomes a reflexive project, something we must continuously build and revise, rather than something we simply inherit from family or caste. And Pierre Bourdieu's idea of capital explains why this game is not fair for everyone. Because creators who already have cultural capital, fluent English, urban tastes, convert online visibility into money far more easily than those who do not. Again, the examiner's lens. A 14-mark answer on this theme usually spends its words listing features of social media, algorithms, likes, followers, without ever precisely extending a named concept. An 18 or 19-mark answer does three things across its 250 words. First, it states Mead's generalized other correctly and then explicitly extends it to the algorithmic audience, in the candidate's own words, not just naming Mead and moving on. Second, it brings in Bourdieu's capital to explain why the platform economy is not a level playing field. That is, your counterthinker move establishing structural limits. Third, it closes with a genuine insight, something like, digital self-fashioning launders offline inequality into apparently meritocratic online success. That is a sentence an examiner remembers. Naming a thinker is the entry ticket. Extending the thinker's concept precisely into the event is what wins the marks. Tonight's second practice question: is Mead's concept of the generalized other adequate to explain identity formation in an algorithm-mediated digital society? Critically assess. Notice the verb, critically assess. It wants your judgment, not just a description. Before you go, 3 quick points to lock in. 1. Caste and class are discrete categories, Dipankar Gupta's term, so never let an answer flatten them into each other. 2. Mead's generalized other is now, in the digital age, frequently an algorithm rather than a community. And Giddens and Bourdieu help you explain why that matters and why it is not equally fair to everyone. 3. And this is the rule that applies to every single current affairs question in this paper. The event you are given is your evidence, used briefly, and the theory is always your destination. That brings us to the end of today's brief. A quick note before we close. The complete answer blocks for every event we cover, the full model answer, the answer skeleton, the quotation arsenal, the flashcards, and the examiner notes are prepared daily and go out only to subscribers of the Sociology Desk. If you would like access, there are two simple ways to reach us. Either leave your email in the comments below or write to us directly at team@upscdesk.com. I will say plainly, this is a paid subscription, and it is priced for what it gives you, a genuine daily edge over candidates who are only reading headlines instead of theory. Preparing for this exam